Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Certain states, including Montana, are easing stay-at-home orders, but the shutdowns caused by the coronavirus pandemic continue to have a major impact on job losses, the likes of which haven't been seen since the Great Depression. Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
Some states are slowly getting back to business. From restaurants to clothing stores, certain companies can let in customers again, including this Houston dry cleaner.
I'm really happy that the business is reopening.
But as some people go back to work, many others continue to lose jobs. The Department of Labor says nearly 3.2 million Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week, bringing the number over the past 7 weeks to roughly 33.5 million. Friday, the government releases the monthly jobs report. Analysts predict the unemployment rate will skyrocket to 16%. That's up from the 50-year low of just 3.5% back in February. It's hoped those numbers will fall as more businesses reopen.
Of course I wanted to come back.
Christine Wilkinson returned to her job at this New York florist and to a smaller check.
I was making more on unemployment.
Congress passed the CARES Act in March.
The bill is passed,
Adding an extra $600 to state unemployment benefits.
That is a challenge at first. It will be.
Restaurant owner Joel Reitz is trying to get workers back. He can't exceed 50% capacity because of social distancing, and that means fewer tips for servers and bartenders.
With the amount of money that is being offered for unemployment right now, it's a hard decision for some of our employees.
Wilkinson went back to the florist for job security, and many workers could do the same. Employees who refuse to return to work when asked risk losing unemployment benefits. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Here in Montana, the Associated Press reported today that more than 4,200 unemployment claims were filed last week. However, that was lower than the previous week. For comparison, though, 762 jobless claims were filed during the same time last year. Well, if you're tired of watching movies from your couch, you want to get back to the gym, it may happen sooner than expected. Today, Governor Bullock announced additional Phase 1 guidelines to allow gyms, movie theaters, and museums to open beginning Friday, May 15th. They can operate at 50% capacity and with a whole slew of updated cleaning guidelines and rules. Many businesses have taken advantage of this time to make needed renovations and updates.
Get some preparations done. Pools don't fill up overnight. Getting all of our facility ready, and the biggest thing is getting our staff all back on board after being gone 6 weeks is a lot of work. But our team is really excited and looking forward to opening our doors.
I think with being closed for 50 some days, people have learned a lot. It's like another family to a lot of people. They just, one of the main part is they get to see people and talk to people along with working out and staying healthy.
Well, for the list of complete rules for gyms, fitness studios, and movie theaters and museums to open and maintain, you can go to this story on KTVQ.com. Well, this as Gallatin County confirmed 2 more positive coronavirus cases tonight, ending a 3-day streak of no new cases reported by the state. That addition upping the active cases to 25 across Montana, and 6 patients remain hospitalized. Those 25 active cases are spread between 11 different counties, 5 of them here in Yellowstone County. Now, according to Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton, the reason those numbers have been so low is it's not even been 2 weeks since businesses began reopening, and it's just been a few days for restaurants and bars. So Felton says what we're seeing now with current counts predates the reopening because of the incubation period involved, and he does expect an uptick again ahead because of that. Still, for most of Montana, the news continues to be pretty good in the battle to keep the coronavirus from spreading. You can see on this map all the counties to the east and north of Yellowstone County, particularly in the green there, haven't reported a single case of COVID-19. That includes 26 of Montana's 56 counties overall. Still, Felton says now is not the time to become complacent.
Fleetwood Mac said it best when they said, "Don't stop thinking about tomorrow." So things are looking good right now, but we haven't yet reached the point that we would expect to see the cases from the initial reopening. And then we're still probably close to 2 weeks away from seeing the effects of the reopening of bars and restaurants. So people have done really well in terms of following the guidelines up till now. It's just not time to think that this is all behind us. So we need to keep being vigilant.
Felton says during this phase one, it is still especially important for the elderly and people with compromised health conditions to continue to shelter at home. Well, the coronavirus pandemic is also impacting state revenue. Today, Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon called a special session of the legislature to deal with that issue. That session is set for May 14th. This first special session in more than 15 years will also focus on how to spend Wyoming's $1.25 billion of federal relief. Well, just one day after Wyoming's largest one-day increase in COVID-19 cases, today the state reports only 4 new cases. Wyoming still has the least number of coronavirus-related deaths across the country. And as expected, today in South Dakota, confirmed cases jumped more than 100 as test results came back from employees at a Sioux Falls meatpacking plant. There are now 846 active cases in South Dakota. Well, the ballots for Montana's June 2nd primary election head out in the mail this weekend. Due to the coronavirus, this year's primary will be the first all-mail-in election in Montana state history. Jay Cohn joins us tonight with some things that voters need to know.
A big day at the courthouse, 85,000 ballots being stuffed and sent out from Yellowstone County. Elections Administrator Brett Rutherford tells me that's about 10,000 more than the total number of absentee ballots sent out 2 years ago.
We are issuing a ballot to every active voter for this election. So there's about 10,000 more people that are going to receive a mail ballot, and we'll see what kind of turnout we get from them.
In both 2016 and 2018, voter participation was around 50% in Yellowstone County. That's about what Rutherford expects again this year. Keep in mind, this is a primary election, so voters will get 3 separate ballots, but remember only to mail in one of them.
The voters have to decide which party they want to be affiliated with for this very specific primary. So you get to vote 1 ballot. The other 2, you're just going to want to discard them. Don't send it back voted with the other ones, because if we see 3 voted party ballots in your packet, none of them get counted.
In the 2018 primary, Rutherford says as many as 700 people had their votes thrown out because they filled out more than 1 ballot. Perhaps the best news is the return postage is included this year, so there's no cost to you to exercise your right to vote. In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
All right, thanks, Jay. And don't forget to sign the ballot before sending it back. If not, your vote will not count. For this first ever all-mail-in election, the deadline to register is now pushed to May 26th, some 2 weeks later than normal. Well, this week, as part of MTN's series on contested statewide primary election races, we're examining the crowded field vying for Montana's open U.S. House seat. Tonight, Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison gives us a closer look at the Republicans running for this seat, all 6 of them.
Montana's only U.S. House seat is open because incumbent Republican Greg Gianforte is running for governor. 6 Republicans are trying to succeed him. And the one to beat in the June 2nd primary is State Auditor and Insurance Commissioner Matt Rosendale. Rosendale has raised $1.3 million in campaign funds, far more than any other Republican. He's been endorsed by President Trump, and he's already running TV ads touting that endorsement and his conservative credentials. Rosendale says while the coronavirus has shut down traditional campaigning, he's been busy doing the job of auditor, overseeing health insurers during the crisis.
I am thoroughly convinced that as long as I do a good job at the office that the people of Montana elected me for, that they will continue to give me the support that they have previously and push me forward as the nominee for United States Congress.
But his primary opponents note that Rosendale lost the 2018 race to Democratic U.S. Senator John Tester, despite a Trump endorsement, and say he's not the best GOP bet to retain this seat. Secretary of State Corey Stapleton hopes his status as a statewide office holder and military veteran could propel him to victory.
In times of trouble, I think that people look for someone who's stable and someone who's served before. And military veterans listening to this will understand this, that I'm just trying to hold out to people that what I bring to this is experience, stability.
And farmer rancher Joe Dooling of Helena says he's been campaigning hard and stressing that he has a down-home Montana appeal that others can't match.
If I'm elected, you guys are my bosses, and I want my boss to call me if he has an issue. So I put my number out there 100 times. Just give me a jingle and you'll catch me in the tractor.
The other GOP candidates for House are former state Republican Party Chair Deborah Lamb, National Guard vet and former teacher Mark McGinley, and electrician John Ivankovich of Butte. Lamb calls herself the grassroots candidate and says gender won't be an issue if she's the Republican opposing the likely Democratic nominee, Kathleen Williams. McGinley is waging a strong social media campaign, emphasizing a resume he says can resonate with voters as a counselor at the Youth Challenge program in Dillon, his work in prison ministry, and his military record. Ivankovich's campaign has been minimal, but says he can help bring organized labor into the Republican fold. Yet for any Republican candidate not named Rosendale, the question is whether they can overcome the power of name recognition, big-time endorsements, and money. Is Rosendale the best bet for Republicans to hold on to this seat? Or might someone else emerge from this six-way scrum and win the primary? GOP voters start deciding this weekend when mail ballots go out. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Well, that was graduation day for some students at Montana State University today. The Honors College kicked off the week-long celebration tonight. Yeah, but it was an event unlike any other. All commencement ceremonies this weekend, including tonight's, will be of the virtual variety. Graduating students received a personalized invite from the college dean for the event and had to click on the link to view the stream program. Diplomas will be mailed to students in July. All right, still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, the roles of nearly all employees have changed these past couple of months. We're going to hear from chaplains at the two Billings hospitals on how their jobs have been altered. Plus, it's time for a swim. We're going to meet one Great Falls worker who is back in the pool after 47 days away. And in sports, a new turf field headed for Amen Park. Scott's going to show you the progress coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.